station it is. If you are tuning in for the first time, yes, this is the only station where you can hear that sound of music. Listen to it again. Yes, indeed, it's Nigeria Info. It is the nation's #1 station for talk. And check your time, get it right. It's the good time for us to bring you yet another episode of Power Solutions, brought to you in partnership with energy investment company Allon. And the communication officer of Allon joins me now, Wisdom Chapp-Jumbo, who just got married over the weekend, by the way. Congrats.
Hi,
and
thank you so much.
Welcome to the married men community.
Thank you so much, Collins. I like to say I will come for some past questions later.
No. There's nobody can teach you. No two relationships are the same.
Okay.
No two marriages are the same.
Yes.
But what I'm going to tell you is that as the talk cannot be saying B.
Okay.
You know, that's what they never tell us.
Oh.
Just be, once you get married, everything is straight. As the talk cannot say B. So you have to figure it out yourself.
By the grace of God.
It's a hard truth, but it is what it is. So congrats to you.
Thanks a lot, Collins. Thanks a lot. Good morning. Good morning.
Yes, indeed. Well, Power Solutions goes live now. You can join us on socials, where we're streaming live to be a part of it. We have another guest, and Wisdom will do the honors.
Yes, of course, Collins. We have another guest. Another good week to have some of these conversations again. So today, our guest is Chibueze Ekeh. He is the founder and CEO of Ceesolar.
Okay. Hi, Chibueze. How are you doing?
Can you hear us?
Good morning. Good morning, Collins. Good morning, Wisdom.
You're looking sharp this morning. I like it. It's the energy.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Congratulations, Wisdom.
Thanks a lot. So today we are discussing excellent community engagement as a key success factor in development of rural solar hybrid mini grids. That's a mouthful, but we'll break everything down. Chibueze is here to take us through. Very interesting conversation. But so let's go right on, Chibueze. When I was just reading about you before the show, I sort of found out you are an industrial engineer, and you are an expert. You are energy finance expert with over 15 years of experience. And I looked at this 15 years of experience, even in banking, in other aspects you've worked in. You have always been in energy. It seems there's this passion you have that is driving your work around energy. You want to talk to us about and a bit more of your professional background?
Okay, thank you so much. I started my career initially, ironically, I started studying electrical engineering, but then I realized that I was more interested in growing businesses and industries.
Okay.
So for me, after I graduated, it dawned on me that any sustainable business or industry can only thrive in an environment where power is actually sustainable and available.
Okay.
So coming back to Nigeria after my studies in the United States, I decided to get into the sector, and it's actually an interesting place to be because, like already, being in Lagos or even in Port Harcourt or Abuja, some of these cities, the air is not really as pure as we used to know. The air is not really clean. A lot of noise from generators. You and I know, even when we were in primary school, we were taught about rainy season and dry season, but these days sometimes you get rain in December. So there's really a lot of impact of energy that is not clean on the environment. So I think that has really driven me to trying to come into this space to provide as much value as possible.
Interesting.
You founded Ceesolar Energy Limited, a specialist energy company mainly focused on three, and I'm going to name the areas: solar power areas, mini grid, rooftops, street lights. Any particular reason why you focused on these, or you're focused on these areas?
Okay, thank you very much, Collins. For us, really, we want to play in mini grids because we want to participate in promoting sustainable development. The Sustainable Development Goal 7 basically is trying to ensure that there is universal access to affordable, reliable, as well as modern energy supply by year 2030. So we kind of want to be able to play a role in providing economic, social, and environmental impact in rural communities through our venturing into mini grids. But also we want to play a role in rooftops because we believe that we can provide power as a service to many homes, businesses, and institutions by putting solar panels on their roofs to provide power for them. And then I think lastly, talking about street lights, you and I know the importance of streetlights for safety and security, especially in both urban communities and even in rural areas as well.
Interesting. So while I was doing more reading about Ceesolar, I sort of found out that you initially started with just giving energy audits to customers, to let them know the potential of solar and how solar can serve them. You started this, but you realized at some point that these customers keep coming back with a lot of worries. Maybe they had gone to purchase maybe a wrong solar product or inverter or thereabout. So that led you to now go on to these areas you are focusing on. So my question is, how important is an energy audit, and what exactly does it entail? I mean, is many things. Is this the aspect that most people don't know about, that you need to first do an energy audit? Because I get arguments that solar cannot do this, cannot do that, but solar can actually do these things if you can maybe get the right audit. So tell us what an energy audit entails, and why is it important?
Okay, thank you very much. That's a very important and good question. And I hear you say, some people say solar cannot do this, cannot do that, but you'll be surprised that, solar can be used to power airports. Today, solar is very, very useful in even providing power that comes to cities and homes. But let's first think of an energy audit like the same process you will carry out before you buy a generator. So you have rented a house, maybe Wisdom, I'm sure you and Madam will soon be looking at maybe moving into a new place, and you
of course
maybe get a power solution. Now, knowing you, I know you will not go for a generator. You probably will go for
I don't even use a generator for the past 2 years. I don't use a generator in my house.
For a water system or a solar system. But for those who go for generators, basically what you do before you get a generator is you want to assess the load that the generator will carry. So you wouldn't necessarily go and get a better pass my neighbor generator for a 5-bedroom house, because it will not be able to really carry the load. So the same way, an energy audit is really important because it helps you get a fit for the same way you would not want to maybe have a cloth that a tailor has sewn for you without taking proper measurement. You also want to take proper measurements of the energy needs of your house or your office, or if it's an organization, even if it's a church, you want to understand that the energy solution that you're providing is fit for purpose for you, so that, for example, your trouser will not tear, when you've worn the trouser and it's not fit for you.
Interesting. Fit for purpose. All right. So now Ceesolar has completed, when I was checking, over 25 plus projects so far. Tell us briefly about some of these projects, and if there's any major milestone you want to share with us. 25 plus is a lot of projects. Just give us insight on some of the projects you've done.
Okay, thank you. We've done a couple of projects. We've done streetlights in the southeast. We've done streetlights in Abuja, in Benue State. We've deployed solar installations in homes, businesses. But I think one interesting one for us is really in terms of where we are today, where we are actually in the process of building our first fit for purpose and set up the art solar mini grid for a community in Cross River State. So I would say for us, really, beyond that, getting the buy-in of 10 off-grid communities who are really interested in having us Ceesolar provide solar power for them, I think that's also a major milestone. So for us, really, the future can only be better.
Interesting. We'll come back to that project you just talked about in Cross River. We'll come back to that in details.
All right, if you are just tuning in and joining us, we are having a conversation, Power Solutions, on development of rural solar hybrid mini grids. Like we mentioned earlier, that sounds like plenty of English, but our guest is able and capable of breaking it down, and that's what we're doing in person of engineer Chibueze, Ekeh, the founder and CEO of Ceesolar Energy. Now, away from that question, completing over 25 plus projects, that's a lot. But from your experience, right, what's your assessment of awareness of solar in Nigeria compared to, say, 5 years ago?
Okay, thank you very much, Collins. I would say today compared to 5 years ago, there is some greater level of awareness. But definitely, there's still a lot of room to grow the awareness. And I think that's where I would give kudos to you and to the All-On team for, helping to spread the gospel and create more and more awareness by the day. Most people who have had bad experiences with their solar installations, what they would say is that, well, solar is not reliable. You know, they install an inverter system, it doesn't last up to 1 year, the battery starts making wing, you know. But when you really dig deeper, you ask these people about the process that they went about before they installed their inverter solution or their solar solution, what you probably would hear is that, you know, when maybe the installer gave them a quote, I mean, they decided to cut the quote really down. And you know how Nigeria is, you know, some people might not tell you that, we can't really go ahead. You know, some tailors will tell you, look, if you don't give me material by November, I'm not sewing for you. I'm fully booked. I don't want to promise and fail. You know, so I think sometimes to people, don't help the situation. So I think with a lot of effort, I think definitely more awareness can be created, and then people can be able to enjoy solar, which, you know, you and I know is noiseless, it's clean, and you know, it can give you reliable power when you really need it.
Interesting. I think that's why we have this show like this in partnership with Nigeria Info. Because we want to really help people understand that solar is the solution for them, best alternative solution for them, and so that we can, you know, help the environment even much better. I know I get a lot of this argument, solar cannot do this, solar cannot do that, and I tell them, look, you know, I will send somebody to you to check what you do, you know, do that energy audit, and then, I mean, it's easy. It's just be ready not to, like you said, don't cut down the cost of things when they give you, and spend the money now. But I mean, in the long run, the advantage is for you. Okay, so let's break down the topic, you know, some more, Chibueze. Now, how do we achieve excellent community engagement as a key success factor to development of rural solar? Break this down for us, because I know, like you mentioned before, you're trying to build your first mini grid in a community in Cross River, you know, and from your work so far with all the projects you have done, how do we really achieve this excellent community engagement? What does this mean, and what should we look at?
Okay, community engagement, maybe it will sound like something really far off, but it's really something that I think a lot of us can relate to, and even people like you and I who are married. You know, imagine you're going to marry your wife. I mean, you have to engage with her family. You have to get their buy-in. You probably need to have somebody on their side who will, you know, be able to say, hey, please, people, don't ask wisdom to bring all these crates of mineral and yam and all this. Let's have pity on him, you know. So when it comes to community engagement, what we're really looking at is trying to work with the community who is your ultimate customer, to have an understanding from the beginning, even before you hit the ground running and you break ground to start building your solution. You want to understand their affordability. Can they pay for the power? If they cannot fully pay what you expect to charge in order to make your money back, are there sources of funding that can, you know, maybe subsidize the cost of power for them? Is there a buy-in from the community? Are they happy to give you land for your power, even for free? So community engagement is really all about ensuring that throughout the process, even when you are carrying on with the project. I mean, you can imagine when you're going to maybe get your list. You know, for example, they might say, "This is do this for the women," or the youth will come with their own list. You know, so in community engagement, you ideally want to have a community power committee or a village power committee where there's representation of women, representation of youth. You know, these days we talk about gender equality, but you and I know that in a lot of rural communities, women are still playing the backseat role. So really kind of help to bring development, bring inclusive development, because any community where women are empowered, you and I know that the difference will be clear.
Interesting.
Man, you are very interesting to listen to, I must say, and the way you relate your knowledge with real life experiences. I mean, using wisdom's experience, so that I mean, it just breaks it down in a very beautiful way.
It just makes it more understanding.
Yeah, I must commend you for that, because the listener, I'm sure, is going to appreciate that. Little wonder why you were one of the winners announced. Of the 2021 USADF and All on Nigeria Off-Grid Energy Challenge that received about $100,000 blended finance. Why did you? Is that a question I should ask? Okay, let me ask it. Why did you join this challenge, and how do you plan to utilize the fund? By the way, congratulations.
Thank you very much, Collins. I mean, you can imagine the huge gap in power supply. I mean, most Nigerians don't get up to 12 hours of power supply in their homes or in their offices. But then what about those who have never seen power supply in their village? They've never seen an electric pole. They've never seen meters in their house. Talking about almost half of the 200 million Nigerians. That's a very huge gap. If Nigeria is going to become like the United States or the better country that we all wish for it to be, definitely we need power. So that's why we were motivated to really get into applying for this funding, getting into the challenge. And for us, really, I think we see it as a huge opportunity to make an impact for a community of not less than 1,000 people. You can imagine people for the first time, being able to, watch TV in their house, listen to radio and, charge their phones, really. So definitely the impact will be there. And it's something that we want to play a role in.
Super. So now, just to add to that, I also want to say that All On and USADF has opened application for the 2022 Nigeria Off-Grid Energy Challenge. Again, like you heard, this is a 100K blended finance to help energy companies, to bring solutions to underserved communities, across Nigeria. So if you're one of those companies who have a great idea, who wants to, provide this solution, you have this proposal, all you need is funding. Maybe you should go and apply for this. You should go to our website, www.all-on.com, and check on our social media pages, to assess the application. We are receiving proposals now, for solutions that can solve energy problem across Nigeria. And maybe you will be the next Ceesolar to come into this and solve the power problem. Okay. Now Chinedu, we know that Chibueze rather, we know that your funding will help with the development of solar mini grid in a community in Cross River State. I see Abaribara community, and in Cross River State.
Yes.
Give us more details about this project. We know it is a 27 kilowatt solar PV capacity mini grid. Tell us more about this project, really.
Okay, all right. It's really a solar and a hybrid solution. So when we say hybrid here, we're using solar panels, we're using inverters, we're using batteries.
Okay.
But in order to also make sure that there is availability and reliability, we have kind of put generators as backup in this case. So we actually have a generator as a backup, but we don't expect to run it even every day, but probably rarely when maybe there's cloudy days and we need to augment the supply. But the idea here is to, for the first time, provide 24 hours power supply to a community, starting with a minimum of 120 connections. So you can imagine each home maybe having about 5 people. You're looking at over 600 people at the get-go, but in the long run, trying to impact the lives of over 1,000 people. What we are currently doing is we have cleared the site. A community was gracious enough to give us one of their community lands, which we actually acquired from them, and then have been able to also start procuring most of our equipment, which are on their way to the community as I speak to you. Okay. So for us, I think it's really been an interesting one, even for our project engineers, even for the people in the community. Where they are all seeing that nothing is impossible if you really just put your mind to it. And I think for us and them, it's been I would say a good marriage so far.
120 connections in this community. Is there a reason why you chose this community? By the way, you may have decided to choose many other communities, but why this community?
I think for us, really, the focus was to really do something in the Niger Delta. Reason being that Niger Delta is the area where you and I know, despite a lot of investment that has gone in the energy space, there is still a lot of gap. So we thought that it would be a good opportunity to really close this gap, focusing on the Niger Delta.
Super.
All right, our time is fast spent, but before we go, Wisdom mentioned earlier, I'd mentioned that you were one of the winners of the 100K blended finance. So for someone who's out there, perhaps it's inspired to do the same, to also apply. A number of questions. What advice, first of all, would you give the potential applicants for the 2022 edition of the challenge? And would you want to touch a bit of, on the process, the application process, as you went through? All right, two questions in one. So how would you respond to that?
Okay, I would say, first of all, you can do it. It's possible. You just need to really set your mind to it and, keep on being positive and expectant. For us, really, during the process, it was a long one indeed, but, we also made sure that we had a good team that worked with us to help us. Internally, we had a good team of people, those who had finance skills, those who had technical skills. Everybody brought their expertise to the table. But I also want to commend the All-On team. I mean, providing support for us in terms of technical support with maybe things like financial modeling, putting the numbers properly to show the investment opportunity and also the impact. So for us, really, I think just put your mind to it and not feeling discouraged at any step. I think it's very, very important. And then, speaking of it, really, it's not something that is not impossible. Elon has been doing this for a couple of years. We have been successful. Definitely, if you give it you can only succeed if you try. So you might as well just give it a try and then pray for the best.
Well said indeed. So, Wisdom, what's the website again for those who want to apply?
Yeah, so for those who want to apply, you can just visit the All-On website. Is www.all-on.com, or you can easily find us on every social media platform. On Instagram, All-On Energy, on Twitter, All Energy, on LinkedIn, All-On, on Facebook, All-On Energy. Just find us anywhere and start your application. The informations are there.
All right, great. So that's the end of the show. But before we go, we started with you. We're going to end with you. What should we expect from Ceesolar in the next 2 years? And how can you be found on social media, if you'd like to give your details?
Okay. Thank you very much. In the next 2 years, definitely you'll be hearing more about us and providing power to at least 10 more communities using mini grids. In terms of rooftops, we'll definitely be looking into providing power as a service to homes, businesses, institutions. In terms of street lights, we're looking at lighting up streets one pole at a time, I would say. So definitely we will be busy in the space. And you can find us on social media at Ceesolar Energy, on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. We are all on social media. Thank you so much. This has really been a good opportunity and an interesting one with you, Collins and Wisdom. And looking forward to hearing more of you on the radio and working with you to create more awareness.
Sure. And this is your first mini grid, right? This is your first mini grid.
Correct. This is our first mini grid.
Good.
Yeah. So wish us all the best. Thank you.
Of course.
All the best indeed. And don't forget, C spelled with the letter C and not S. C with a double E, right?
Correct.
Absolutely.
Correct.
Thank you again for speaking with us, Wisdom.
Thank you.
That's the show for today.
Of course.
Hope you enjoyed yourself.
Yeah, I did.
How does it feel to be co-host of the show for the first time as a married man?
Collins, oh no.
Should we tell him?
Collins, oh no. You think
Should we tell him? Let him enjoy.
Collins, no way. But it feels good. It feels good.
Yeah.
I'm sure my wife will be listening and she will be laughing.
Oh my.
Yeah, that's good. But anyways, we want to let people know this challenge is very important.
Yeah.
And if you have those solution, please go and apply quickly. Application closes on the 18th of March.
Okay.
Don't waste any time. Every day counts. All right.
That's it. I've done this with Wisdom Chapp-Jumbo, the communications officer of All On. My name is Collins. Teke. Many thanks to our guest today, Chibueze Ekeh, for speaking with us, CEO of Ceesolar Energy Limited. Well, next week we'll be here again with another. Stay tuned for more interesting programming on your number one station for talk. I see Wemimo on standby to bring you the news, Africa's most authentic news bulletin. I can say that with all sense of responsibility. Bye for now.